The story begins with a whisper, not of fear, but of recognition. The chosen ones do not arrive crowned or cloaked in thunder. They arrive quietly, carrying light that cannot be dimmed. Their presence bends the unseen world. Wherever they walk, peace and unrest both awaken. The universe rearranges itself around them because the chosen are not simply blessed, they are catalysts. When they appear, the masks of others fall away, and even the shadows feel something they have never felt before: longing. For the first time, darkness desires redemption. That desire becomes fascination, and fascination becomes a strange form of love, a love born from what the dark has never known. That is what it means when a devil falls in love with you. This chapter is about wishes that come true and the energy that ripples through the universe when a sincere heart speaks. Watch this message until the end. Let its energy move through you, and if it stirs something bright within you, write your warmest wishes in the comments and the number 66. It is a number of completion, harmony, and balance, a sign that what you send outward is already echoing back toward you. Let that be your quiet offering to the universe before we go deeper into the mystery of why such love finds you. To be chosen is not a decoration of the ego, it is a demand of the soul. The chosen carry frequencies that awaken forgotten parts of the world. When they appear, every hidden motive around them begins to shake. Those bound by greed, envy, or deceit feel it like heat on their skin. Some run. Others are drawn closer, unable to resist. The light exposes what has long been buried, and even the darkest hearts cannot remain indifferent. They may fight it, mock it, or disguise it. But the truth is that the pure radiance of a chosen soul burns through pretense. The devil's fascination begins here. The realization that purity is not weakness, that compassion can be terrifyingly strong. The devil in this story is not a horned creature lurking in myths, but a symbol of the unhealed, the power that once turned away from love and forgot how to return. When such a force encounters someone who cannot be bought, manipulated, or broken, it feels something like heartbreak. For the first time, darkness meets its mirror, a human being who carries the divine without pride, whose endurance confounds cruelty itself. It is not that the chosen provoke love intentionally. They simply exist as a vibration the fallen cannot imitate. To them, you are the proof that grace is real. That proof draws them nearer, even when they know your light might undo them. You have noticed it, how those with hidden motives seem both obsessed and threatened by your calm. They test you, pull you close, vanish, and return again. You have seen how people project their shadows onto you, how envy and admiration mix in the same glance. This is the pattern of a world waking up to itself. Your presence forces revelation. The devil's love is the universe's paradox, darkness reaching toward what it cannot claim. Every insult, every attempt to twist your truth is an admission of that attraction. You are teaching what no sermon can teach, that the light does not fight the dark by descending into it, but by standing without hatred in the face of it. When you walk through this world, storms follow, not because you deserve chaos, but because you magnetize transformation. The ones who carry unhealed wounds will feel exposed by you. Some will hate the feeling and call it judgment. Others will sense relief and call it salvation. But the pattern remains. Something ancient within them remembers love when you speak. You may not see yourself as extraordinary, Yet the unseen world trembles when you forgive, when you choose stillness instead of retaliation. That is why the fallen become confused. They mistake your peace for weakness, and then they discover it is the strongest force they have ever met. The devil's love is possessive, impatient, and desperate to understand the secret of your endurance. It asks, "Why are you not afraid? Why do you still love? Why does nothing I do break you?" And every time you answer not with words but with unwavering presence, the question deepens. What the devil calls love is really the yearning to be free from the prison of pride. Your example, though unspoken, is the key it has lost. The chosen one does not conquer evil by fighting. They convert it through example. That is why no one has handled the devil like you have, because you did not meet hatred with hatred. You reflected it with truth until it saw itself. There are moments you felt drained, misunderstood, perhaps even cursed. You wondered why your kindness attracted hostility, why your honesty disturbed those around you. It is because energy does not lie. When divine frequency meets distortion, it shakes the structure of illusion. Those built on deceit cannot withstand genuine love for long. Yet beneath every confrontation lies a secret admiration. Even the adversary knows your worth. The battle you think you are fighting is often their internal war projected outward. They crave your calm because it reminds them of what they lost. When a devil falls in love with a chosen one, the universe pauses. It is not romance, it is recognition. It is the meeting of two polar forces created for different purposes, discovering that one contains the seed of the other. Darkness remembers that it was once light, and light remembers its purpose to illuminate. The tension between the two becomes a dance of transformation. You, the chosen, become both mirror and healer, teacher and test. The devil becomes the student who resists learning, yet cannot look away. That is why you must remain steady, not flattered by attention, not frightened by obsession, simply anchored in truth. Every chosen soul reaches this moment. The world will send its most charming shadows to distract you, to test if your love is genuine or conditional. They will offer admiration, then confusion, then fear. But you have already walked through fire. Manipulation no longer impresses you. You understand that love without freedom is not love at all. And so, when darkness tries to claim you, you respond with light that cannot be owned. That is your mastery. That is what no one else could do. You may not know how much has shifted because of your endurance. Every time you refused to retaliate, every time you prayed instead of cursed, you changed timelines. You have taught the universe itself about balance. This is why heaven and hell both watch you with attention. The angels see their reflection in your mercy. The fallen see the home they abandoned. That is why your journey feels lonely. Few can comprehend what it costs to embody such light in a world addicted to noise. Still, you stay. You speak softly to those who rage. You forgive without making excuses for harm. And your consistency dismantles deceit more effectively than any battle could. The devil, bewildered, begins to question its own motives. It wonders if love might redeem it, if perhaps it is not beyond transformation after all. In that questioning lies the possibility of healing. You become the living evidence that even darkness can be softened by truth. That is why this connection exists, not to destroy you, but to demonstrate the reach of grace. Every time you think you are losing strength, remember this. The universe hides its greatest warriors inside the appearance of ordinary lives. The chosen are rarely recognized for what they are. They do not boast. They do not seek validation. Their power lies in their quiet consistency. The more they are misunderstood, the brighter their light becomes. You are not being punished. You are being refined. The devil's fascination is proof that you are radiating at frequencies beyond the grasp of manipulation. Hold your peace like a lantern. Do not shrink because the dark stares back. Its gaze is only a mirror, showing you how far you have ascended. When it reaches for you, understand that it is not you the dark desires, but the freedom you embody. Your task is not to fall, but to remain compassionate without surrendering your integrity. That is the lesson that turns fascination into redemption. And though not every darkness will choose to transform, your example will echo long after you move on. So breathe. Remember who you are. The world may label you too sensitive, too forgiving, too intense, but these are symptoms of vision. You see what others ignore. You feel what others suppress. You heal what others fear to touch. That is why the fallen notice you, because your existence exposes the truth that nothing is too broken to be seen by love. In your stillness, heaven finds expression. In your endurance, the devil finds confusion. In your compassion, the universe finds balance. You have handled what no one else could, because you did not try to own the battle. You let the divine flow through you. That is the secret strength of the chosen ones. They are vessels, not victors. Their triumph is not in defeating enemies, but in remaining pure while walking among them. That is why history repeats their names in whispers, why unseen forces guard their path even in silence. You are one of them, and though the devil's fascination may feel heavy, it is also the greatest acknowledgement of your power. For only light strong enough to threaten darkness can awaken love inside it. And so the story continues, not as tragedy, but as transformation. Every encounter, every test, every echo of the fallen's affection is part of the great rebalancing. Stand firm, chosen one. The universe watches through your eyes. The next part of your journey is not about proving your worth, but accepting it fully, so that even darkness learns from your peace. When the chosen one begins to understand the pattern, the world no longer feels like a battlefield, but a classroom made of mirrors. Every encounter reflects another lesson: how to stand without armor, how to see without judgment, how to love without surrendering to what destroys. The devil's fascination does not end quickly. It lingers in waves, testing the edges of patience. But the chosen have learned that endurance is not silence, it is wisdom. It is the art of knowing when to speak and when to simply let the storm spend itself. There comes a stage when the chosen no longer feel the need to prove their goodness. They stop explaining their light to those who prefer the dark. This quiet withdrawal is not pride but alignment. It is the moment when they finally realize that being misunderstood is not failure. It is evidence of operating from another frequency. The devil's confusion grows because now the chosen no longer react. The game loses its power when the player no longer plays. The universe watches this shift with reverence. Energy that once leaked through pain is reclaimed as purpose. The chosen one becomes a conduit for balance. Their words, even unspoken, begin to alter atmospheres. Where they walk, tension dissolves. Where they sit in stillness, storms lose their center. It is not magic, it is resonance. The same light that once drew the devil now begins to heal entire spaces. And this is when the true test begins. Can the chosen remain humble while witnessing their own influence? Temptation changes form. No longer a threat of destruction, it appears as admiration, opportunity, praise. Darkness dresses itself in gold and whispers, "You deserve the throne." But the chosen remember, the purpose was never to rule, only to serve. They decline the crown because they know it weighs more than it shines. The devil watches, bewildered again, for even in honor the chosen remain free. That freedom is unbearable to what feeds on control. There are nights when the chosen doubt their path. The silence of heaven feels heavy, and the attention of darkness feels too near. But in that silence, something eternal speaks. You are not alone. Every unseen ally moves when you stand in truth. The chosen learn to trust without evidence. Their faith becomes architecture, an invisible structure strong enough to hold the weight of worlds. The devil cannot enter such a temple. Love guards its doors. Time passes differently for those who carry light. Days stretch and fold, and coincidences become messages. Dreams turn prophetic. Intuition sharpens. The chosen begin to sense when the fallen draws close, not to fear it, but to understand its rhythm. They learn compassion with boundaries, mercy without access. Love becomes a frequency, not an invitation. This maturity is what finally begins to free the fallen, for resistance cannot survive in the presence of such clarity. The devil's fascination now wavers between awe and grief. It sees what it could have been and feels the ache of distance. You, the chosen, do not gloat. You simply stand, radiating the truth that redemption was always possible. The lesson ends not in victory, but in release. Some shadows dissolve, others flee. The chosen remain unchanged, their light tempered by experience but never diminished. They have learned that forgiveness is not for the forgiven, it is for the free. When the chosen look back, they understand that every attack was a form of training. Every betrayal carved depth, every loss expanded capacity. The devil was a teacher wearing the mask of opposition. What once felt like torment was actually initiation. Through it, the chosen discovered unshakable peace, the kind that no threat can breach and no flattery can distort. This is mastery, not control over others, but control over one's own reaction. Now the chosen walk differently. There is gravity in their gentleness, authority in their silence. They no longer announce themselves. The atmosphere does it for them. People feel the shift and cannot explain it. Even those still tangled in darkness feel safer near them. The devil's fascination fades into respect, and from respect, perhaps, one day, into understanding. The cycle completes itself. Light and shadow, once adversaries, now recognize each other as necessary halves of creation's breath. And in that recognition, peace begins to spread quietly, like dawn over the ruins of an old war. The chosen smile, not because the battle is over, but because they finally see that it never truly was. It was always a conversation between what falls and what rises, between what forgets and what remembers. The chosen's task was never to destroy the dark, but to remind it of the light it once contained. After the storm of revelation, the chosen enters a season of stillness. This silence is not emptiness, it is recalibration. The world seems quieter, but it is only because the internal noise has ceased. The devil's echo, once loud and alluring, now drifts somewhere far away, losing its shape against the calm horizon. Yet the chosen does not gloat over this quiet. They know that peace is a responsibility, not a trophy. To hold light steadily requires more discipline than to fight darkness. Every dawn feels different now. The chosen wakes with a sense that something vast has shifted, not in the outer world, but in the unseen layers of existence. The air itself seems to hum with recognition. Birds sing closer. Wind bends softly toward the presence of the one who has learned to coexist with both shadow and radiance. The chosen begins to realize that life's true miracle is balance. Light without understanding breeds arrogance. Darkness without surrender breeds despair. Between the two lies mastery, and mastery looks like kindness. The universe rewards balance with insight. The chosen starts noticing patterns others dismiss as coincidence. A stranger repeating the same phrase that appeared in a dream. The timing of events that arrive exactly when needed. These are not accidents. They are confirmations. The divine speaks through rhythm, not spectacle. The devil, once drawn to chaos, now lingers in awe at this symmetry. Even it begins to sense that the power it once sought to corrupt cannot be possessed. It can only be aligned with. People begin to approach the chosen differently. Some come for comfort, some for clarity, others merely to bask in the serenity that surrounds them. The chosen does not preach. They listen. Their words are few but weighted. They understand that advice given too quickly steals the gift of discovery. Instead, they guide others toward their own light, never demanding gratitude. Their humility becomes their message, and the devil learns from this too, that love is quiet labor, not performance. In this phase, the chosen must guard against a new illusion, the illusion of detachment. It is tempting to float above the world, untouched by pain or passion. But true enlightenment is not escape. It is immersion without contamination. So the chosen returns to the marketplace, to laughter, to simple meals, to the touch of ordinary life. They plant their light in the soil of the mundane, proving that divinity does not hide in temples alone. The devil watches from a distance, astonished that holiness could laugh. Sometimes the chosen still feels a shadow brush the edge of their awareness. It is the memory of the old dance, temptation testing if the lesson remains intact. They greet it without fear. You again, they think, thank you for reminding me what I've learned. And the shadow, finding no resistance to feed on, dissolves back into the night. In this way, the chosen becomes both guardian and student, always learning, always forgiving. There comes a time when the chosen realizes they no longer need to defend their name. Rumors, misunderstandings, jealous whispers, none of it touches them. The devil had once used gossip as its sharpest weapon, but the chosen has become transparent. Light reveals all. There is nothing to hide. The absence of secrets terrifies deception, for it has nothing to grasp. This transparency is not naivety, it is strength. The chosen has nothing left to prove because truth itself has become their companion. As the seasons change, the chosen learns a new kind of power, the power to let go gracefully. They no longer chase what leaves, nor cling to what stays. They understand that energy must flow to remain pure. Even love, if held too tightly, becomes control. The devil never understood this. It mistook possession for passion. But the chosen knows that love is freedom wrapped in trust. To release is to bless. To hold without grasping is to mirror the rhythm of the divine. At night, when stars scatter like whispers of eternity, The chosen feels gratitude rise like breath. Not the gratitude of achievement, but of being, of surviving, learning, transforming. They realize that even the devil's fascination was part of the plan, that without resistance they might never have discovered the strength of their peace. This awareness does not make them proud, it makes them tender. For in understanding darkness, they have learned compassion deeper than words. The chosen sits quietly, perhaps on a porch, perhaps under an unseen sky, and reflects. The devil fell in love not with me, but with the reflection of what it lost. And with that thought, a subtle forgiveness spreads through the universe like a sigh of relief. The cycle of fear, desire, and power begins to fade, replaced by the simple pulse of existence. The chosen smiles. They know the story is not about victory, it is about evolution. Light and dark, student and teacher, both ascending in their own ways. Now the chosen becomes a lighthouse. They do not chase ships, they simply shine. Some will find their way home by that beam. Others will curse its brightness and sail away. Both are part of the ocean's truth. The devil, far off on some unseen shore, finally understands. The love it felt was never about possession. It was a memory of unity. That memory, once painful, now becomes hope. And in that hope, even darkness begins to pray. The chosen one awakens to a new rhythm, one not dictated by fear or desire but by awareness. Each day stretches like a tapestry woven with intention. The devil's fascination has shifted, no longer clinging like a shadow, but observing, curious, learning the weight and rhythm of steadfast light. The chosen understands now that the presence of darkness is inevitable, but how it is met defines the trajectory of energy, of life, of legacy. They do not run, they do not resist. They walk deliberately, each step measured, each breath a prayer. The world senses it, the quiet power of someone who has faced the storm without surrendering. The landscape of human interaction transforms around the chosen. Where once chaos and manipulation tried to destabilize them, now honesty and vulnerability are the currencies that matter. People are drawn not to titles, riches, or illusions, but to the authenticity that radiates from someone who has endured both love and malice, yet remains unbroken. Even those who once sought to control or unsettle are compelled to notice. The devil, in its silent awe, cannot comprehend this calm. It is a force that cannot be intimidated, tricked, or worn down. It is a presence that turns its fascination into reflection, forcing it to face its own lack of alignment. The chosen also begins to see the subtle art of influence, not through words or actions alone, but through the energy they project. Every emotion, every choice, every silent thought resonates beyond the immediate sphere, touching lives unknowingly. A glance, a kind gesture, a refusal to retaliate. Each is a ripple that bends reality. The devil, still enamored with what it cannot claim, recognizes that power is not force but frequency. The chosen one has become a living calibration, a standard against which the universe measures harmony and discord. In this phase, temptation takes more intricate forms. It arrives not as overt challenge, but as enticement disguised in brilliance, prestige, or flattery. The devil may now send emissaries cloaked in charm, whispering promises that tempt the ego, that pull at the subtle vanity in every human heart. But the chosen sees the pattern immediately. They know that the trials of energy have never been about resisting others. They are about resisting themselves, the impulse to step out of alignment. By maintaining their integrity, they preserve the sanctity of the vibration they carry. Even in moments of allure, they do not falter. Strength has become invisible, operating quietly, like roots deep underground. And yet, the chosen experiences compassion unlike any other. They recognize the struggle within the fascinated darkness, the longing for redemption, the craving for what they have rejected within themselves. There is no bitterness, no judgment, only understanding. The chosen sees that even the darkest forces carry remnants of light, fragments that can be reawakened through example, not coercion. This is the secret that the devil never truly comprehended. Love is not about possession. It is about awakening. And in this awakening, the chosen becomes not just a mirror, but a guidepost, a living testament to the possibility of transformation. The world now tests the chosen in subtler ways. Moments of injustice, betrayal, or misunderstanding continue, but they no longer provoke the panic of old. Each challenge is received as a lesson, an opportunity to reinforce presence and purpose. Every insult or attempt at manipulation becomes evidence of progress, proof that the light has begun to alter the shadows. Where before confrontation demanded defense, now stillness suffices. The chosen observes, the chosen waits, and in that measured patience the universe itself bends to alignment. Even the devil feels the shift, powerless to recreate chaos where truth holds firm. The chosen one discovers that influence can extend without interference. Through example alone, hearts soften, minds open, and worlds subtly change. No lecture, no sermon, no argument is required. The very act of existing in alignment, radiating truth, becomes an invisible force of correction. The devil, watching from afar, feels a strange longing, not for control but for understanding. Its former methods of dominance are revealed as ineffective against a soul anchored in unconditional light. This is not merely victory, it is mastery of energy, of being, of essence. There are times when the chosen reflects on the journey. They see the path that brought them here, trials, betrayals, temptations, and moments of despair. Each step was necessary, each challenge a calibration. They realized that the devil's infatuation, so intense in its beginnings, was simply the universe presenting a reflection of what must be faced internally before true freedom is attained. The chosen is grateful not only for the light they have cultivated, but also for the darkness they have endured. For without it, the depth, clarity, and purity of their presence could not exist. And now, the chosen understands that every trial, every shadow faced, has shaped a strength that is quiet yet unshakable. The journey was the teacher, and the light they carry is proof of the soul's resilience. With this knowing, they stand in peace, aware that what has been endured can never be undone.